Love
Look
people.
how much revolves around love.
Yes. Hi, I'm Jessica Sapp.
And I'm Bill Sapp.
And we are here with SAPPy Thoughts. And today we are going to talk about and share with you about how to be the ultimate Christ follower and what that means. And it's not about comparing yourself to others. When I think of this, it's really about being your own personal ultimate Christ follower. What is the best that you can be to follow Christ? And this really is about one single word: love.
Jesus is love. So when you show somebody love, you're showing them Jesus.
That's right. Showing and sharing Jesus's love. The love that we have in our hearts, that basically we're just overflowing from Christ into other people. And that is what it really means to be the ultimate Christ follower, is to love others the way Christ loves us. So we just want to talk a little bit about examples and what does that look like in everyday life of showing people love like Jesus shows us. So for example, opening the door for someone.
I do love to open the door for someone.
Yeah.
It's not done enough anymore these days. It's something as simple as that, is just showing somebody kindness. It's showing them love. It may make your day, their day. And it's a very simple thing to do. It's a kind thing to do. And you get way more compliments for doing it, or thank yous for doing it, than dirty looks for why are you doing it.
Yeah, and I think it's just really showing, like when you're everyday life, you're walking out, so like opening the door is just simply you're walking into a store, you look behind you, is there someone, you keep it open for them. It's really a sense of what we think of as manners, but a lot of manners come from really just showing love of Christ. And then something as simple as a smile. I mean, depending on where you live and where you go, you might get a lot of smiles, like where we are at the beach environment, a lot of friendly people, but you might go somewhere else and the smiles aren't the same, but you can be the smile even in places where people don't smile a lot. And it's amazing what a simple smile can do. So, today, maybe you're thinking of a friend and you say, you know what? I want to send them a text and tell them I love them. I'm thinking about them. You never know what is that person going through that God put it on your mind. You mentioned in our last video about, you'll be praying for somebody and they come through your mind in prayer. That's an example of giving love to somebody.
And I do
praying
that,
for them.
and I do that a lot of times in prayer, in which he says he'll come by. I mean, I'll be praying in my normal way, and I will literally see a face go by, or usually it's a face, and it's a familiar face, and I'll pray immediately. Just doing that is love. It's loving somebody, and it's showing them love, and so.
And I think that's the biggest thing, is that regardless of our differences, showing love to the sinner, because we're all sinners, showing love to the non-believer, not just our believer friends. I mean, it really is, because if you want to really radiate love into someone's life and to change their life, the non-believer, if you come at them with love, they're more likely to go to Christ than if you come at them in any other way. There was a time, to give you the example of showing people love of Christ, that I had a license plate. This is like the perfect example of showing someone love of Christ or not showing love of Christ. I had a license plate that said 8th Street, 8 THST. And that's, again, our local home break, our favorite place in Cocoa Beach. So it was on a surfer's plate, like it had a wave, and it was 5 characters, so you couldn't put a space in it. So it literally was 8 THST. And I had it and I got it, and I was in a parking lot and someone approached me and said to me, so what is that plate? And I said, oh, that's 8th Street. That's our home break where we surf. And he looked at me and he said, well, what if you're wrong? And I was like, wrong? What are you talking about? Because it looked like atheist with the 8 at the front. I never saw it that way, which is why people's perception can shift. So I never saw it that way. And then he's assuming that I was an atheist. And actually at the time I was questioning. I was not an atheist. I was questioning, but if I was questioning or I'm on the fence,
He just bumped you off one side.
what do you think just happened? I mean, you didn't come to me with love, and then what's even worse is you asked me, and I told you
Right.
it was a home break for surfing. It had nothing to do with being an atheist, and it's like, what if you get there on Judgment Day and you're wrong, and your defense wants to go back and say, what if I'm right? Like, even though I wasn't an atheist at the
Right.
time.
Yep.
And I don't believe that. And I went through different directions, which we'll talk another day when we talk about our salvation. But when you think of that, you're like, dude, you just came at me. And that was very aggressive and not loving at all. That's not what Jesus would do.
What did that person do that showed you the love of Jesus?
Yeah, it was terrible.
I don't know for a fact, but I'd be willing to believe he was probably a believer, a
Absolutely.
Christian. And
I
to come
believe
at
that.
you, he could ask you, question you, and say, well, do you know Jesus? There's so many different things, but to come out the way he did was just, that's condemnation.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, what if it were me? Here's what I feel like I would do. Explain it in this example right now. If I'm walking out the parking lot and I look over and I see the plate, and if I thought it was atheist, and I saw the person, I would be, oh, it's a different plate. Well, what's it say? What's that mean? And if they said what she said with, that's our home break, ATHST, 8th Street.
Yeah.
I'd be go, oh, that's so cool. Did you ever realize it also looks like atheist? And that's why I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Because I was going to see if we could have a conversation about why maybe you believe, as an atheist, when I could share a few things with you about who Jesus is and how much he loves us. And
you may not be ready to share your story of Jesus with other people because, especially depending on where you are in your faith walk, it may be harder just to pray for someone in the parking lot or talk to them about that.
I feel like in a kind way, you should at least approach it to the point to where they go, I really don't want to talk to you about Jesus.
No, I'm
And
talking
then
about,
you're okay.
I'm talking about from the Christian person.
Right.
Like, you might be the Christian in the parking lot and not feel comfortable with that conversation with someone that is maybe an atheist or a non-believer, and that's okay.
Right.
That's not, you can just still show love and show Jesus's mercy and all of those things, but not have to engage in that conversation if you're not everybody's comfortable like that.
Well, and again, his approach definitely was not going to turn
No,
somebody.
and that's just to show you it's really about compassion, mercy, and love no matter what the circumstances, because there's the differences. So I will tell you, I had that plate for the exact 1 year, and I redid that plate because I was like, man, this is just not what I intended.
Yeah.
But you could be that seed, that person, that thing, and again, it's just so much about the love.
And faith, hope, and love.
Yes.
And the greatest is love. And so again, we just said Jesus is love. It says Jesus is love in the Bible. So you're sharing Jesus. And everything is about love. And nothing that you were shown there was loving somebody. Reaching out to somebody and holding the door, that's showing somebody love.
Right.
And, helping somebody out with, you heard him starting the car over there, and before you drive off, or it won't start, and you ask him, is there something I can do to help you? That's showing somebody love.
Right.
It really is. One of my examples with love, and one of my mission trips to Costa Rica, I was having this issue with myself. It wasn't bad. It was just a spiritual issue. And I felt like, I wasn't getting an answer. So I kind of said to God, I'm walking out here on these rocks for a ways. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to talk to you. And I'm not leaving till I hear from you. I mean, it's a bold thing. Because I walk out there at low tide. And if you haven't got an answer by high tide, you're in the water probably. But I sat there for a while, and I really felt like I heard from God. But what I thought I wanted to hear in the area I wanted to hear wasn't it. And what God said to me was, love people, Bill. Just love people.
And that's what it comes down to. So this is as simple as it comes of how to follow Christ and be your ultimate Christ follower is just love people. I know that's sometimes easier said than done because that doesn't mean that we don't get frustrated, we don't get mad, we don't get angry.
And don't get us wrong. It's not easy. It's not every day. I have thought about this before, and I've gone out in the truck and got ready in the morning to leave and said a good prayer and I'm good, and get down to the red light and somebody pulls out in front of me, and I either think or spew something ridiculous, and I'll go about 10 more feet and go, man, you blew it already.
There you go.
But you just pick your head up, keep going again,
Yes.
and God's got you.
But it's about understanding and bringing it back and keeping your peace and joy and just loving people.
Right.
And I think the biggest thing too is, oh, we're so different. Their life is between them and Jesus.
That's right.
It's not between you and them. I'm not saying that things don't impact your own life sometimes if it's like family or friends and stuff, but you love people, and no matter differences and no matter what the sin is or what the greatness is or what their weaknesses or strengths are, it makes no difference, because that's them and Jesus. Their relationship where they are now is not where they'll be tomorrow if they keep Jesus in their heart. And I think that's just, with us, like just loving
Yeah.
people.
The whatever it is you said for them or showed them or did for them today, when they go home, whatever they're going through, you might have done just enough that they may wonder why that biker or why that surfer or why that tatted person, why did they show me that today? And they may start their own search. They may like, man, they are this way, and unfortunately people think that way, that they are this way or they look like this, but they were so kind and they offered to help me, and they mentioned Jesus, or they said, well, God bless you, I hope you have a better day. You've changed something. And the Bible says that God chooses peculiar people. Everybody that walks the earth, God's got a purpose for them.
That's right.
He's got a reason for you to be here. He's got what he needs you to do, and I did say he needs you to do.
That's okay.
To go out and reach somebody, touch somebody, put an impression, I guess,
Right.
on somebody that will go, whatever it is they got, I want some of that. And it came from this person,
And it's planting that seed. When you plant the seed, you're planting love into someone, and it may not produce fruit right away, but it will. Like, I know when I was a non-believer, I had a lot of people plant seeds in me, and then looking back, and it's interesting. Actually, it's pretty funny because we just went to an event a few months ago, and I had seen some people that I haven't seen since I've been saved. It's been a few years. I mean, I got saved a few years ago, but I hadn't seen them in person since then. And so this change happened, and it's a major change. I mean, when you give your life to Christ, it's the best decision of your life, and it's an amazing change. But they didn't know that or hadn't seen it yet. And they're like, yeah, Bill and I prayed for you in the lobby, and we did this and we did that, and they prayed for me. And it was just like, okay. I mean, they didn't shun me. They didn't, discard me. They just really loved me and still showed respect and all of those things. And I think that's just really helpful, because when you get God in you and you have the Holy Spirit, you are going to be guided by him. So there might be changes coming because you're a new creation, but it's wherever you're at, and God will get you where you need to be for your purpose and what you're doing and all of those things. So God's using us in a way that may not work with a different culture or a different group of people, but he knows where we're supposed to be for who we're going to touch and reach and plant those seeds. And so again, it's not about looking a certain way or being a certain way, but it really is about having that relationship, right, which we talked about in the last video, about really having that relationship with Jesus, and it's between you and him, and it's personal. So the same thing, but just showing that love to other people. And it could be such a simple conversation. This guy, Bill, loves to say, he tried to do it before this video, but I was like, no, we need to film today. My hair is done by my hairstylist. We got to do it today. But he goes and says, I'm going to do a wave check. And a wave check usually means...
It isn't this.
No, a lot of times he might go over, and then if he goes over, a lot of times he ends up coming back in like an hour plus, and he hadn't even surfed. And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, well, I was on the boardwalk and I saw this person and that person and someone I didn't even know, and then we started talking about this, and then it got onto scripture, Jesus, or he had a word for somebody. Now, I'm not saying that he preaches at the boardwalk, because he doesn't, but there's that time that in conversation,
opportunity,
it comes up, and then if it comes up, you share that love. I mean, I want to, like, I always want to share my love for Jesus and Jesus' love for me. I mean, I don't hide that. I'm not ashamed of it at all.
Right.
And that's something that it's learning how to love others.
Their day has been rough, tough, ugly, and you show them kindness, you show them the love of Jesus, you offer your hand to help them and stuff, you are probably the only glimpse of Jesus, who Jesus might be or is, that they may see today.
That's right.
You're a light to you're a light to a lost and dying world. And what more do you want to do than shine bright for Jesus?
That's right. So that's the biggest thing. So takeaway, just show love. Just love. Just love.
And I love you.
That's right. I love you.
And I love you.
We love each other for sure. So yeah, so that's but again, just love
Look
people.
how much revolves around love.
Yes. And be the love, be the light. Don't be the hate, don't be the darkness. And that's a good thing, because we're not perfect. We're not going to get it right every time, but you keep working at it, you keep trying, you keep have that relationship with Jesus, and you just go on to the next one.
I used to always tell the guys in these meetings I did, if you're going through your day and you fall down and crash your face, get up, don't give up. Just get up and let's keep on going, but don't give up. Look forward, to go forward.
Right.
Always be reaching for God. He's there. And when you need him the most, not just your reach, but he grabs hold of you. Just enough to say, we've got this. We've got this.
Yes. I mean, now look at me. Did you notice the big change? My hair has
I
been
love your hair.
shifted.
It's brand new.
Brand
Today.
new, like off the press, brand new. By the time this comes out, it might be a week or so old, but it's brand new. And this was really something that I'm not dealing with, but going through with uncovering my crown of glory, which that info comes out later.
I had friends that I surf with, and when I got saved, they actually, like in the Bible where they cast lots, they actually, amongst themselves, with me being able to hear them, placed bets about how long I would last as a Christian, how long, I think the longest one somebody gave me was 3 years. Well, 22 years later, Here we are. And those same people, when bad times come on them or something happens or they're sick sometimes, will actually call me or cross paths with me and ask me to pray for them. And that's exciting.
Yeah. Until next time. See ya.
Peace.